Hey guys, this is Agency Brady, and I am here once again giving you a video that demonstrates mechanisms inventory mechanics, well, I guess upcoming inventory mechanics in version 5.6. Now, all the previous videos I've said would be the last videos in regards to inventory management in 5.6, but every single one I've released another video afterwards, so I'm not going to say this is going to be the last video that deals with inventory management because I could very well wake up tomorrow and add some more features into this. But I got some great feature requests, and I fixed a couple things up myself, and I will try to go over them in best detail as I can. First of all, the Pathfinder has been revamped, and it now is much smoother, works much faster, and is just better in many ways. Before, I had a kind of archaic, messy, recursive Pathfinder that would go over the network of transporters and look at the chests and the transporters together, and it would basically find every single path that an item could go through, putting in regards how many transporters there are in the network and how many chests there are that can go into. Well, not chests, in the inventory really. So if you had a lot of different transporters here, it would have to go through every single one, and it would be basically very exponential and not efficient. So if we had something like this, I mean, we're talking about millions of different recursive calls that the computer would have to process, and that's just thousands and thousands of different paths it could possibly go on to get into each one of these chests, and it's just not good. So I fixed it up. It now uses A-star pathfinding, and it uses a mix of that and a simple recursive explorer, basically an algorithm that goes through, finds all the different inventories connected to the network, and then uses A-star for every single one of them, and then shuffles all those paths into, well, it doesn't shuffle them, it sorts them all into a little list, and it picks the closest inventory off that list, just like that. So you're always going to get the best, closest inventory from the location you're outputting from. And I found that whereas the last algorithm, when I had something like this where you have all these, it would take like 4 or 5 seconds for it to completely process. If I put something in here right now, look at that. It's immediate. It just goes right in, and apparently this is not going the right way. Where is this going? Why'd you go over there? Why? Why would you do that? No, please. Please. Round robin. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I have had to remake this video 4 times now because of many issues that have come up. One of them being a crash, one of them being that it would always find the farthest inventory from it, another one being that it would basically just freeze up whenever it reached the end of the path, and another being that the entire sided inventory management system was completely screwed over because of a single line of code. So anyway, rant over. I'm going to go over from the start now how this works. It will find the closest path right away, just like that. There you go. Closest path immediately, no delay at all. Even if you had a bunch of items going through at the same time, like this. Look at that, it's immediate. It just goes right into the closest inventory right away. And I've kind of already spoiled what the next major feature is, which is round robin. And it does exactly what you think it would, and if you saw the thermal expansion video, then you pretty much already know what this does. As you can see, it basically shuffles through all the different paths it can go on. Not paths, it shuffles through the possible different inventories it can go into, picks the closest path to that inventory, and then basically decides which inventory to go into based on the index of the round robin algorithm. So you'll see each one of these go to their respective places, and in the end you have a pretty organized, about equal amount of stacks in each one of these chests. So that's about it for that. And it works very well in any environment, and it's of course respective to the filters you have set up, and respective to just basically default outputting. It'll all do it in the correct order. So that's it for round robin. The next major feature that I've added is the ability for items to go back to their original location if there's nowhere else to go. So if you were to spit out this stone here, and it was about to go into this chest, but it couldn't because you broke it or something else happened, it would go back into the chest that it was outputted from. and it saves this information so that it will always remember where its home is, so that in the case that it's removed, the home is removed, while it's still trying to find a path. So like if you had something like this where it was going through, except then you broke this, and it path finds back to go home. Wait for it to do that. Here we go. So now it's going back to its home. If we were to break this chest here, it now doesn't have a home. But it remembers that that was the location that its home was in. So if we were to place the chest back here again, as soon as this reached the end, it would go back around. It would say, hey, my home is here, so I can go back into my home. Now, homes are always last priority. So basically what I mean by that is if you had a chest here at the end, in fact, let's put it here so it doesn't have to go nearly as far. And you put an item in here, and it spit it out, put it into here. It would, well, not this time because it already pathfinded back to its home. But no, well, it would eject anyway. But in the case that it hadn't pathfinded yet, and you had this chest here, and you outputted this item here, and you suddenly didn't have a path, and it tried to go home, but you didn't have a chest there, and it's stuck with nothing to do. But then you placed your home back and a chest here. It would pathfind, and the priority would be this chest, because home is secondary, and that only happens if there's no other path to go. I'm going to set this to clear. Weather clear. And that's pretty simple behavior, and I think that it's the most intuitive that I could add. So that's about it for that. And that's pretty much home inventory management for you. That's about all. The next thing is a very, very small feature, but this was actually primarily me because I didn't like the way it functioned before. I added in strict input colors where you could select which colors could be ejected, well, it could be inserted into machines based on which side. So which color items means it's primarily a transporter mechanic. It wouldn't work with like buildcraft pipes because there's no color tags. If you were to go in here and see this is auto on, place stone in, and set this to red, it would of course function right away. It would send it over and go into the enrichment chamber. Now, say that we had this going as blue. Now this would still, this would still be able to eject because we have this set to gray. Now, say that we turned it on. It now by default is off. So turn on strict input colors, and we send in something from here. It is still going to function because this is gray, and of course gray is the default. So if we set this to blue though, it would function. If we set it to green, that is when it would not function because we have it set to on. Now, if we turn it off, the second we turn it off, it will be able to emit again. So basically, this is just an ability to turn off. Say you had a bunch of colors here configured for a certain condition, and you were like, you know what, I just want any input side to be able to accept any color whatsoever, and I don't want it to worry about, you know, setting these back to normal. Well, you would just turn this off, and that's about all there is to it, honestly. So, yep, I guess that's about all. And aside from that, let's see, is there anything else? I showed you guys the minimum and maximum in the last video, and that was a pretty major thing because it involved a lot of rewriting of algorithms. But I think that's about it when it comes to just regular management. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, leave in the comments, or I guess if I post this on Feed the Beast, leave suggestions there if you have any ideas for where I should go from here. The features I'm thinking about adding now are most likely going to be just general improvements, making things a bit more intuitive. Like, for example, on here, you now have this little, these tooltips that come up that make it a bit easier to know, you know, what buttons do, because before you just had to do by trial and error, and I'm probably going to do that on the rest of the mechanics of the inventory system. But if you guys have any suggestions or comments, of course, that's interesting, let me know, and I will try to add them in. And I'll make another video. So have a nice day, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you later.